Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is January 20th, 2023, and we are in the Old Testament, and we are reading from the book of Genesis, and we're going to read chapter 19 today. All right. So we just saw these three angels who've come down, and they're going to judge the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, whether they should be destroyed or not. They just went and they saw Abraham. And if you remember, they got a welcome from Abraham that was along the lines of the welcome that we as Christians are supposed to extend to everybody. You know, they brought them in, made sure they had food, made sure they were comfortable, a place to wash up, treating them with love and kindness. They get to the city of Sodom, they don't get that kind of a reception. They get a much different one. Now, a lot of people want to point to that because they want to be raped and say, well, it's about homosexuality. It's not about homosexuality. That is the most depraved thing that Moses can think of, is what he's giving us, this welcome that they get there, that they're going to rape them and beat them and murder them. Contrast it to the welcome that they got from Abraham. That's what we're supposed to see, not the sexuality here, just the absolute depravity of the welcome that they get in Sodom compared to the one they got in with Abraham. Righteous person on Abraham's side, wicked people on Sodom's side. And then he wants us to see Lot. Now we know Lot starts off with Abraham, so he understands the righteousness. That's where he was brought up in righteousness. But now he's in Sodom. So how does that affect Lot? Does he cling to his upbringing, or does he start to become evil himself? And we get a hint of that because his response to their demands that bring these people out and rape us isn't over my dead body. Now, granted, he doesn't say, all right, go ahead and have at them, but then he says, oh no, I'm not going to let you rape them. Here's my kids, rape them instead. Not much better than where they were. That's that lukewarmness that we hear in the letter of Laodicea. Be good, be hot, be cold, but stop this. I'm going to try and split some hairs. You're either righteous or you're not. There is no, that was the worst sin I could think of, but it's okay because I didn't do the worst thing I could think of. I only did the second worst thing I could think of. Yeah, you can't rape them, you can rape my kids. How does that work out? Well, we see in the story it ends up with the kids raping Lot. So you give into a little bit of sin, it doesn't matter. Sin leads to sin, leads to sin, leads to sin. Righteousness, cling to that. That's what we're supposed to do. At the end, we get the Moabites and the Assyrians, I believe, come out of this union. So there's two more wicked nations. Add to the wicked nations from Ishmael, add to the wicked nations from Cain and Lamech. So again, that idea that sin is perpetuating sin, is perpetuating sin, is perpetuating sin. Meanwhile, we've got that one little thin righteous path running down from Abel to Seth, to Noah, to Abraham, Moses, Boaz, David, all the way till we get to Jesus. So let's go ahead and we're going to read Genesis chapter 19. Now the two angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Here now, my lords, please turn into your servant's house and spend the night, and wash your feet. Then you may rise early and go on your way. And he said, No, but we will spend the night in the open square. But he insisted strongly, so they turned into him and entered his house. Then he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. Now before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both old and young, all the people from every quarter surrounded the house. And they called to Lot and said to him, Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, that we may know them carnally. So Lot went out to them through the doorway, shut the door behind him, and said, Please, my brethren, do not be so wicked. So now I have two daughters who have not known a man. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do to them as you wish. Only do nothing to these men, since this is the reason they have come under the shadow of my roof. And we said, Stand back. Then they said, This one came in to stay here, and he keeps acting as a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them. So they pressed hard against the man Lot and came near to break down the door. But the men reached out their hands and pulled Lot into the house with them and shut the door. And they struck the men who were at the doorway of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they became weary trying to find the door. And the men said to Lot, have you anyone else here, son-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city? Take them out of this place. For we will destroy this place because the outcry against them has grown great before the face of the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-laws who had married his daughters and said, get up and get out of this place, because the Lord will destroy this city. But to his sons-in-law he seemed to be joking. In the morning dawn, the angels urged Lot to hurry, saying, arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the punishment of this city. And while he lingered, the men took hold of his hand, his wife's hand, and the hands of his 2 daughters, the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought him out and set him outside the city. So it came to pass, when they had brought them outside, that he said, escape for your life. Do not look behind you, nor stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be destroyed. Then Lot said to them, please, no, my lords. Indeed, now your servant has found favor in your sight. You have increased your mercy, which you have shown me by saving my life. But I cannot escape to the mountains, lest some evil overtake me and I die. See now, this city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Please let me escape there. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live. And he said to him, see, I have favored you concerning this thing also, and that I will not overthrow this city for which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I cannot do anything until you arrive there. Therefore the name of the city was called Zoar. The sun had risen upon the earth when Lot entered Zoar. Then the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. And Abraham went early in the morning to the place where he had stood before the Lord. Then he looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and toward all the land of the plain, and he saw and beheld the smoke of the land, which went up like a smoke of a furnace. And it came to pass, when God destroyed the cities of the plain, that God remembered Abraham, and sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had dwelt. Then Lot went up out of Zoar, and dwelt in the mountains, with his 2 daughters were with him. For he was afraid to dwell in Zoar, and he and his 2 daughters dwelt in a cave. Now the firstborn said to the younger, our father is old, and there is no man on earth to come into us, as is the custom of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drunk with wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with their father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. It happened on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, indeed, I lay with my father last night. Let us make him drink wine tonight also, and you go in and lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. Then they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son and called his name Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger she also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the people of Ammon to this day. May God bless the reading of his word. May God bless you. Bye.